Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with Serkworks Art Lab. Welcome once again to the underground factory laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And today we're going to delve into that other category, specifically Miscrits and Miscrit mashups. We've been doing the whole series of these Miscrit mashups, so hopefully you're familiar by now. If you aren't, here's the deal. A popular game, Miscrits, that I put a lot of work into. I did some character designs for way back in the days. And now, just for fun and just in the spirit of science, I'm going to be combining, mashing things up kind of, experimentally and see what we come up with. So we're going to take two creatures from that game, combine them together, and create an all-new creature for you guys by popular demand, popular requests, and I've been getting tons of requests. And I'm sorry if I can't get to your particular request, but I just get so many, so I just kind of have to draw a name out of the hat, and we'll see what happens. So the name I picked today was, hopefully I will pronounce this right, Nishi Mekarig. Hopefully I got your name right. But the suggestion was Kasai and Dark Beam. Now these are both sort of dragon type characters. One's a fire element, one's an earth element. Couple things I had to kind of switch around, and I mentioned this before in one of the other videos. I'm not going to do any of the variants, like the dark Miscrits or the foil Miscrits or anything like that. We're going to keep it straight to and what those are Miscrits who have other versions of themselves. So we're going to go with all original versions. So we're just going to go with Beam and not Dark Beam. And I don't want to mix different evolutions. So each Miscrit has one of 4 different evolutions, so I'm not going to mix an evolution 1 on one creature and an evolution 4 on another creature. So Kasai is a first evolution. Dark Beam or Beam is a 4th. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 4th evolution of both those creatures. So Kasai is 4th evolution is what is it? I think it's Funkasuru, if I'm pronouncing that right. And Beam is the 4th evolution of Goldie. So we're going to take those creatures, we're going to mash them up, we're going to mix them up, we're going to go to the drawing table, and we're going to see what we come up with. So let's check it out. Okay, so we're going to begin as we always do by doing our kind of real life gesture sketch. Now, these two creatures are similar in some ways, and that's helpful when they kind of have some of the same look. So they're both sort of like dragons. Funkasuru is definitely more of a dragon, kind of a Chinese dragon, and then Beam is, well, I guess kind of a dragon-esque looking. You could kind of put it in that category. It's not. I don't think it's based on any particular animal that exists in the real world. But anyway, so it was. Sometimes it's good to have those characters be similar, and they're kind of easier to mash together. Because I've tried, like the one I did last week was a little difficult because they were very very opposite. But anyway, you can take that for what it's worth, whether you like that one or not. That one was a struggle for me. But this one I think I'm going to be a little more happy with the way it turns out. So, and so I'm using my my Prisma Color Colorase red pencil, and those are just the erasable pencils by Prismacolor. And I usually mention this every episode, but I'll mention it again because it bears repeating because people always ask. Because not everyone's seen every video, so not everyone knows. So they like to know what kind of materials I use. So yeah, I'm just using that, and I switch back and forth between the red pencil and the blue pencil depending on kind of the creature, what if it's a warmer color creature or a lighter, and this one's definitely warmer because we're dealing with sort of that Chinese dragon look that's very red, most of it. There's some cool blues, which you'll see kind of the fire actually is a real light cool blue, and we'll have to see if I can achieve that on this this, you know, natural color paper. Sometimes those lighter colors are a little difficult to achieve, but then we can use other tricks like bringing in color pencils in addition to the markers when we get to that stage and everything. And the other creature, Beam, is very earth-like, very earth tones and things, which usually tend to be warmer as well. So that's why I picked the red pencil. So here you can kind of see, just kind of going in, adding the feet, and I'm trying to, so the feet are a little more like Goldie. The majority of this, I would say, is based more off Funkasuru, but then we've got some of the kind of the rocks, like Funkasuru has kind of these antlers that stick up, but Beam has these ears with these little balls at the end. I guess, I don't know, almost like a weather vane or something like that. But I kind of combine the two, and we'll see. And of course, that weird kind of, I don't know what you would call that in like a Chinese dragon. It's almost like a mustache, but like if you've ever seen Mulan, Mushu has that kind of, you know, it's like an antenna, not an antenna, I don't know, it just kind of comes off the mouth. It looks like a mustache. I don't know. I am trying a few different techniques on this one. As far as you can see, I am not using my brush, which I usually use, but I picked up these zebra brush pens, and they're a Japanese product, and at first I wasn't sure how they'd work in comparison to like the brush that I usually use. And the other thing that I was concerned about was how they would react to the alcohol-based markers like the Copics that I use, or I also use a couple other brands, but they're all alcohol-based. And most pens tend to bleed when I use those, and that's why I had to find a special ink. I use my like when I do use the brush, I have to buy a special like a Japanese manga ink, but I guess whatever inks the Japanese use, I mean, it works perfect with markers, and I haven't found any that are like that you could like pick up at a store in the States that work well with markers. It seems like everything bleeds. So I don't know why here in the States we can't manufacture whatever ink they're using in at least most of the Japanese products that I've used. I mean, just works great. So I found that these zebra brush pens don't tend to bleed too much with the Copic markers. So I mean, that's great, because it does save me a little time, because I don't have to keep dipping the paintbrush and everything in the ink and everything like that. So and these are sort of, I'm trying to do these sort of quick sketches just to get an idea, just to get some, because who knows, I mean, these aren't really intended to go in the game. I mean, maybe it's possible that someday they will, I don't know. But right now they're just kind of for fun, so I don't want to spend too much time on them. But if you've been looking at, if you're familiar with Kasai Black, she big Miscrit fan, and she's taken most of these drawings and like created them in the style of the game as a vector illustration, which is really cool. So she's done that with everyone so far, which is really cool. So I don't know, maybe it's possible that we can see about getting them in the game, because they're pretty close the way she did them. The only thing is I would have to go back and create every other evolution for that, and that is time consuming. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. don't get your hopes up, but anything's possible, I guess. So as you can see, yeah, we're laying down the colors, and really no bleed with the zebra brush pen. And I think that's just the brand. People have been recommending this pen to me for an awfully long time, and it's just now that I finally got one and tested it out. I used to use the Pentel Pocket Brush, which really is a good pen, and I used to swear by it, but I found they're kind of unpredictable. You never know how much ink is going to come out of it at a time, especially if you just buy it. It seems like it just pours out ink, and then as it goes, it's just very unpredictable, it seems to me. Like when I first started using them, I loved them, and then I just ran into problems, so I kind of stopped doing it, because I have to be super careful. Like the one good thing about those is they were good to take like to a convention and when you're out and about, because you can't really, it's very difficult to bring out like a dip brush to dip at like a convention, because those get knocked over or whatever, and I don't like transporting ink, because usually when I do, I put it in like a plastic bag just in case, and there's been many occasions where it spilled out into the plastic bag, and if I didn't have that plastic bag, it would be all over, and that's permanent ink, and it would have ruined either the upholstery of my car, or like if I put it in a backpack, it would have ruined that and everything around it. So if I can avoid transporting things of, India ink, I'll do so. But I really do like these zebra brush pens. They're a little different. They're not refillable like the Pentel Pocket Brush, but they're fairly inexpensive. And even with them being shipped from Japan, it doesn't seem to affect the price too much. So I'm digging them. I'm digging them a lot. So I will definitely get some more of those, and I will be carrying them around because you can get that nice line weight. I didn't press too much on this. With these pens, the harder you press down, the thicker your line will get and everything. But there is some line variation in there. Definitely a lot more than you would get with like a Micron or one of those type of pens. So, but anyway, so you can kind of see, as you can tell, a lot of it is the kind of the Funkasuru, and then we've got some elements definitely of beam mixed in. We've got some of the rocks and stuff, and Funkasuru has kind of this spike like finger, and we kind of made that rock. We gave him the drill. We gave him some of the armor that Beam has. Beam has kind of those plates around his face and everything. And of course the little like weather vane type. I don't know what you call that, like a almost those things that conduct electricity. What are those called? Like a Jacob's ladder, those things at the top of a Jacob's ladder or something like that. So you can't see, they're kind of out of the picture right now. You can kind of see them at the top, but now of course, because we were working on this darker paper, I always like to go around it with the white gel pens, and those are the Sino brand. Uniball makes them, I think. And they work really good. I really like them, and it just kind of pops it up. It's just a nice little touch to kind of go around the whole thing, especially when you're working with this with some toned paper. Obviously, it wouldn't work very good on white paper, but it also works really well for highlights, like in the eyes. Now, in this particular Miscrit has kind of glowing blue eyes, but if you've got a Miscrit that has like the standard eyes with the pupils and everything, you usually have like a highlight on those eyes to kind of where the light's shining on, because eyes are very reflective. So yeah, that's about it. We're wrapping this one up, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this, especially coming off the one last week or last time around. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, leave comments. I try to get back to everyone. Share if you can, and I'll see you guys later. And that is all.